Didn't he find nothing? Not a trace. What could have happened?
The Queen noted a building with unusually lavish ornamentation, including shining bronze roof tiles and glistening rock crystal window panes. An important clan dwelled there, Gabor explained. The Breckenrigs.
Could you introduce me?
Meve asked.
Perhaps I can convince them to intercede with Bruver on my behalf.
The clan head, Ivar, invited Meve to an exquisite feast. But when she broached the subject of the war raging just outside Mahakam's borders, the dwarf changed the subject at once. Looking around the interior, Meve quickly understood why. The walls were ordained with Nilfgaardian tapestries and rugs. Gifts from friendly Imperial envoys, no doubt. Meve prepared to leave, convinced she had wasted her time, when someone clasped her shoulder and pulled her into a darkened room. Her kidnapper turned out to be a young dwarf, female, it seemed, dressed in her nightshirt. She introduced herself as Ivar's daughter, Eudora Breckenrigs, and openly admitted she had eavesdropped on Meve's dinner conversation.
Listen, me dad's stubborner than an old goat, but I'll convince him to help ye. For a wee favour, that is.
Mm-hmm. What?
I want you to steal something from the clan archive. Historiae Mahakamorum, 'tis called. See, me dad won't let me betroth me sweetikin Zoltan. Says the codex forbids marrying a dwarf who's left the mountains. But there's precedent. Just such a case described in that document. If I can show it to Da, he'll have to change his mind.
Meve felt sympathy for Eudora and wanted to help her, especially considering the favor Eudora could do her in return. But she fully realized if her attempt to break into the archive ended badly, it would result in a tremendous scandal Bruver Hoog would not soon forget.
The pot's worth the play, I believe. Fine. I accept your offer.
They then shook hands, sealing the deal. Meve had to bite her tongue to stop from crying out, for the young she-dwarf had the grip of a brawny blacksmith. Meve returned to her company, and, massaging her sore hand, presented Eudora's offer. Gascon volunteered for the task at once.
Thievery's my forte. The dwarves won't notice a single mothball out of place.
Gascon snuck into the archive under the cover of darkness. Just as he was tucking Eudora's desired document into his cloak, he heard dwarven boots clanking down the stairs.
Damn it!
Gascon swore.
I can't let them catch me.
Stop! Who's there? Stop! Who's there? Huh? Who's there?
What a nub. That was close.
Stop! Who's there?
Yeah.
Huh? Who's there?
What a nub. That was close.
Huh? Who's there?
What a nub. That was close. Piece of cake.
Who's there?
What a nub. That was close.
Huh!
Stop! Who's there?
Yeah.
Huh? Who's there?
What a nub. That was close. Piece of cake.
Yeah. Ha! Yeah.
Just a bit more.
Ha! Huh! Ah! Huh! Ha! Yeah! Ah! Huh! Ah! Yeah!
Luckily, Gascon managed to do the deed quietly, so the dwarves never found out who had broken in. As agreed, Niamh handed Eudora the stolen document.
Ha!
The dwarf shouted, raising the parchment in a triumphant gesture.
Da can't do nothing to stop her making vows now. I've got to write Zoltan right quick. Thanks. Thanks a million times over.
And Eudora did her part too. Soon after, the Queen learned there'd been a gathering of the clans, and Ivar had indeed spoken on her behalf. She could only hope the elder Breckenriggs had swayed Grúva Hoog as well.
Eudora Breckenridge Chive.
You can count on us, Queenie. Ivor'll be a wall at your back. Stout.
Ah, you thundering dope! I told you to hold your horses or you'll shake the hitch loose.
Oh, now you're a bleeding expert, are you? You overloaded the damn cart, that's why it's busted.
A wagon lay strewn across the middle of the road. Behind it stood others, some loaded with gold, jewels and other valuables, others groaning under barrels of pickled meat. Each dwarf had his own theory about how the accident had come about, and thundered it out to all and sundry, peppered with choice invectives.
An odd caravan.
Niamh said.
They don't look like merchants.
Nay, they ain't.
Gabor answered.
Dwarves of the Ferens clan, carrying gifts for the Drake. Remember Keltilis? When he took roost here, Ferences fought him for near a century. Then the dragon got weary of fighting and they realised he weren't going nowheres, so they cut a deal. He didn't bother them. They give him what he needs.
Well, well. And these offerings they send often?
Every week. Excuse me, got to separate them lads, or they tear out each other's beards. Hey there! Cool your idiot heads!
Gabor managed to douse his brethren's fiery tempers, but the wagon still lay across the road, blocking all traffic.
Queen,
Said Xavier.
there's an easy repair. I have the tools, the parts. Need but your permission.
Of course. Go see what can be done.
Xavier did indeed make quick work of the problem. Within moments, the wagon was rolling smoothly down the road, good as new.
Well, shaft me, your highness,
said one of the dwarves.
Your engineer's got a pate like stewed meat, but he kens his trade, that's for certain.
I'll convey your words to him. Or at least part of them.
Me and the lads will be on our way now, but first, take this. Bit of gold by way of thanks.
I appreciate the offer, but I cannot accept coin for helping a traveller in need. Common decency it is.
Huh? In our times, decency ain't common at all, but as you wish. Farewell.
The dwarf bowed in parting, shook the snow off his beard, then rejoined his caravan. Within a few moments, the wagons had disappeared around the bend. A pillar of smoke rose above the mountains, and a sooty aroma filled the air.
Fire!
Gabor said, then took a deep sniff.
Perhaps a bolt struck some barren trees.
No.
Meave said curtly.
I know that scent too well. All Edirn reeked of it. It's the smell of burning homes.
The Lyrians quickened their gait. Soon they saw a town fully aflame, and a roaring, furious dragon above it.
That's your Keltalis?
Gascon asked, shielding his eyes from the sharp glare emanating from the city.
You were right. Perfectly harmless.
Dinna ken what's got his knickers in a bunch.
The dwarf said, grabbing his axe from his belt.
Queen, we got to make haste to the rescue.
Reynard!
Meave called out.
Have our men wet their cloaks for a modicum of fire protection. We move as soon as they're done.
Your Grace, they are but common soldiers. To fight a dragon.
I know, but we must help them, or at least try.
While Reynard went to pass on the order, Meave turned to Gabor.
This dragon, has it any weakness?
Fear not,
said the somber dwarf.
Except a fondness for raw meat.
Meave nodded and swallowed dryly. Despite the cold, she felt sweat pour down her scalp. Stifling her fear, Meave gave the order to attack, and her soldiers rode into the flaming city. From up close, Keltalis looked even more terrifying. Though enormous, he moved with shocking agility, like a lizard scurrying over sand. With one swing of his paw, he snapped the necks of 3 dwarves, then bisected a 4th with a powerful bite. After that, he turned his attention to the Lyrians.
More of you!
He said, twisting his bloody maw into a horrifying smile.
God!
Behind me! Stay together!
Aye. You haven't killed a dragon. It has to be possible.
The Grace, we're taking losses!
Ah, shite! He's raging now! Watch out!
Should have listened to me, old lady.
Watch your heads!
That day, many Lyrians perished, either to the dragon's all-consuming fire or to its flesh-rending claws. Yet their sacrifice was not in vain. Together with the dwarves, they were able to grievously wound Celtulis, forcing him to flee. The howls of the wounded monster rang throughout the valley.
That's right, howl, you scurvy snake! Shouldn't they ever attacked us, eh? Damn fuel lizard!
Meave, that's Vavrenik, elder of the town and all the Ferences.
My regards, and condolences.
Eh, tain't so bad. If nae for ye, wouldn't there be a stone left unrubbled? To be honest, when I caught wind some human queen come to Mahakam looking for aid, I said a crocus would sprout twixt my cheeks afore I'd vote aye on that. Gonna be a fear to look in my breeches after, but changed my mind. After what I saw today, what ye did for us, you've the support and undying gratitude of all Ferences.
Thank you. Faced with a Nilfgaardian peril, that means a great deal.
Forgive me for interrupting this tear-tugging scene of interracial reconciliation, but I can't hold back no longer. Vavrenik! Double shice! What happened? Why'd Celtulis attack?
I ken as much as ye. Meaning, squat diddly. Just flew up, started spewing flames, half the town lit up in a flash.
Sheepshank! 300 years I've been a good neighbour.
What's done's done. Gotta think about the future. The Drake's just taking a breather. Gotta finish him off for he's regained form.
Meaning, we haven't much time. He heals like an alchemist's pup. And the nearest guards are miles away. He'll be up flying again before they get here.
Aye, that's what I thought. Perhaps, your grace, you'd,
What? Jest you must.
I ken you're tired through the fight, dinna want to risk casualties, etc. But remember, the beast sleeping on a bed of gold and rubies. All belonging by right to Bruther, of course. But if quibbling some wandered off, he'd nae notice.
I admit that does alter my calculations. Besides, the dragon was badly wounded.
Putting it featherly, blood poured out of him like a leaky bladder. Just needs a coup de grace.
Fine. I'll do the deed.
Ken you'd see the light.
Oi, Vavrenik, Vavrenik. This lady's gonna make your rump a regular crocus garden.
Aye, Queen's doing us a great service. One that'll profit us both.
So, where is Celtulis's lair?
North of here. It's a vast cavern. Ye cannae miss it.
Meave bid farewell to Vavrenek and set out on her way. Did her way lead to the dragon's lair, you ask? Shh. Let's not spoil the surprise.
That stings. God, blowing it.
Keltalis' lair was indeed impossible to miss, as would stand to reason, for any space capable of containing a dragon must be enormous. The lair's maw, a black triangle cut out of a vast plain of snow, loomed from afar. Confirming the dragon's presence was the powerful odor emanating from it, one of sulfur and blood.
Well then,
Gascon said.
ready to become a legendary dragon slayer?
My father oft said, never should you count pelts till the hunt is through.
Meve said, dismounting her horse.
It's all the more true when you hunt dragons. He's wounded, yes, but one puff of flame and we shall be not legends but corpses. Leave all thoughts of foolhardy bravery behind.
The Lyrians crept across the dragon's threshold. They walked single file, shields raised, watched by bats hanging from the ceiling. Keltalis lay curled up on a bed of diamonds and gold coins turned red from his blood. Seeing how he strained merely to lift his massive head, Meve knew the dragon no longer posed any threat.
Come to finish what your poison began?
The monster croaked hoarsely.
Fine. Do it then.
Keltalis turned over, exposing his vulnerable underbelly, and waited calmly for the fatal blow.
Wait,
Meve said, dropping her sword.
what poison?
Keltalis laughed while squeezing his bleeding side in pain.
So they didn't tell you? Lousy munchkins.
Hey! Watch your tongue!
Gabor yelled.
Sides! I didn't ken anything about it.
Keltalis looked the Lyrians over mistrustfully with his snake-like eyes, then began to tell his tale. The caravan Meve had met on the road was different to the others. This time, Keltalis's meat had been pickled in a special brine, one spiked with poison. As the dragon lay curled up in pain, Ferenc dwarves entered his lair and smashed his eggs.
So if I understand correctly,
Meve interrupted.
you're female?
Correct. Same as you.
As if on command, all Lyrian eyes turned to Gabor.
Don't you look at me! We didn't peek under his, its tail.
If I may,
Reynard interjected.
these revelations about Keltalis's sex are undeniably fascinating. But I'm more curious why the Ferences stooped to such a dishonorable deed.
That's easy enough to guess.
Meve said.
They were afraid the dragon would soon demand more tribute to feed its young, so they decided to strike preemptively.
To the Ferences' misfortune, they delivered 2 smaller doses of poison. Infuriated at the sight of the broken eggs, the dragon gathered its strength and flew to the nearest town. Meve saw for herself what happened then. And now it was up to her to decide how this story would end. The dragon had killed dozens, perhaps even hundreds, but had been provoked first by the dwarves' heartless cruelty. Did it thus deserve death or mercy?
When judging my subjects, I would sometimes not know who bore the greater guilt.
Said Meve.
But as ruler, I had to reach a verdict, often a harsh one.
The Queen returned her sword to its sheath.
This is not my land,
Meve said.
nor are these my subjects. I don't have to choose the lesser evil.
Meve!
Gabor hissed.
Bruver will be furious.
Let him. And you, dragon, swear me this. When you heal, you shall leave Mahakam, and never return.
You've my word. And my gratitude.
Meve was about to leave the cavern when the dragon blocked her way with its tail, then gathered a smattering of valuables at the Queen's feet. Each would be the prize of the Lyrian crown jewels. News that Meve had spared the dragon, which had killed dozens of dwarves, did indeed enrage the inhabitants of Mahakam. The Ferences in particular. But when the clans considered driving the Lyrians from the pass, Elder Vavrenek opposed it. No matter what happened after, he had sworn Meve his undying gratitude. Meave squinted, the better to see the scene. Several dozen dwarves had gathered on the cliff overlooking the chasm. All were turned towards a ramp, at the peak of which stood a barrel.
What is that gathering about?
Asked the Queen.
Have we a feast day?
Nay,
Answered Gabor grimly.
'tis an execution.
A hairy head peeked out of the barrel. The long, pointy nose and ears left no doubt that it belonged to a gnome. The first Meave had ever seen in her life.
Help! Save me!
The gnome yelled.
They aim to kill me! Cast me in the chasm!
Shut your maw!
Barked the dwarf standing next to him, who then shoved the gnome inside the barrel and covered it with a lid.
Your crimes! The sheer weight of him, hey? No lighter punishment is fitting.
The other gathered dwarves nodded approvingly. Two gripped the barrel, lay it on its side, then lifted it to cast in the chasm, paying the thumping from inside it no heed. Meave leapt from her horse, and ignoring Gabor's objections, scrambled up the ramp.
Oi! You're not allowed! Hey, damn it! What do you think you're doing?
I think it's obvious. Preventing the execution.
Ah! Ah! Thanks be to the gods!
Whoa, wench, you've no such right. Judgment's been handed down. Sentencing's done.
Yes, and a cruel sentence it is. One that prompts me to wonder what the accused did to deserve it.
Ha! Better to ask what he didn't do, the varmint. Arrived here with his peddler's wagon full of tricks and gadgets. Went from house to house, praised his rubbish to the high heavens. And what's it he sold us? Bombs that go off in your hand. Beer growth formula that makes your hair catch fire. Music boxes for the kiddies. Once cranked, they never plough in stop.
You needed but to loosen the screw in the back and...
Shut your maw, ye roaster. Doesn't it matter all that? 'Cause we'd have forgiven it if he hadn't broken our sacred rules and hallowed customs.
Which ones, if you don't mind me asking?
Enter the smithy, cap on his head, held nails between his teeth, and poured fruit syrup in his beer. Raspberry. Blech.
Just the once, and but a few drops.
You got nothing to explain your villainy, scoundrel. Not a thing. And that's not even the worst. Saved his highest crime for the end. He was in a mine. And he whistled.
Oh, aye, that's bad. Shouldn't have done that.
Aye, he did. Whistled. Through his teeth. And hummed in harmony, a long warble. We all heard it up and down the shaft, and our grand-elders were clear. Death's the punishment. Death by barrel roll.
Your land, your laws, I shall not argue with them. But perhaps there is another way. Can a bail be posted?
Well, the law does allow for something of the sort. But I don't see how that job is worth it.
Oh, aye, he is.
Willing I am to take him at his word. Does that suffice?
Aye. But just so's we're clear. No returns, no refunds. Now get the hell out of that barrel, you wee shite.
My lady, I haven't a way to thank you.
That we've yet to discuss. Perhaps first we should learn each other's names?
Aye, yes, of course. What a prat of me. Barnabas. Barnabas Beckenbauer. To friends, Bibi.
Meave. Queen of Lyria and Rivia.
Queen? Cows in the corn, kill me on it. Your Majesty, obeisance due.
None necessary. Protocols for use at court, not beyond it. An inventor you deem yourself. Am I right?
Most assuredly. Though, truth be told, the dwarves saw no ingenuity in my craft. Seems I'm ahead of my time.
Fiery bursts in the palm of your hand. They shall be in fashion one day, to your mind.
Oh, nay, just a bit of misfortune, that's all that was. You see, I mistook mercury fulminate for saltpeter. The vials stood beside each other, see, and...
The details I need not know. But one matter I am curious about. Could you construct a bomb that would explode when desired? For instance, beneath my foe's feet as they stepped over it.
Of course I can! It's simple.
Why then? You wish to show your gratitude? You must join my ranks. Assist me to defeat Nilfgaard.
Defeat Nilfgaard? Pure ambition, that is. But I'd have been a barrel of broken bones at the bottom of a ravine, if not for you. I'll do what you ask to pay off my debt.
And thus, for the first time in Lyrian annals, a gnome enlisted with the army. And though Barnabas Beckenbauer was diminutive of body, this new recruit would prove his worth on more than one occasion.
Your Majesty, allow me once again to express my undying gratitude.
You're most welcome, Barnabas, but please, we haven't need for any formalities when speaking alone.
Well, of course. How might I help you then?
I like to know. No, I must know who I travel with. Please do tell me about yourself.
About me? I've most civil relations with dwarves, as you saw. But is there anything in particular you'd like to know?
Why not start at the beginning? Tell me where you hail from, perhaps.
Oh, right. I was born in the distant south, in Tir Tokhair. My mother was a washerwife, my father, an armourer. Soon as I'd passed 40 winters and could strike out on my own, I left the family, my native parts. So I've been on the road now about, 20-odd years.
Indeed. A rather long while. Did the south simply not suit you?
Oh, I wouldn't say that exactly. It's just staying would have meant stepping into my father's shoes. Then forging blade after blade, plate after plate. Oh, just thinking on it sets my head a-spinning. Not for me, that, no. No, nature. The world so rich in mysteries, in wonders left to discover, and ways to make it a better place.
By building bombs that explode in the hand, for instance.
As those bearded fellas say, Mahakam wasn't built in a day. Besides, nobody was seriously hurt by those malfunctions. Not many at any rate.
At the moment, have you any invention you've worked on? One that's near complete?
Oh, so kind. Oh, wonderful, you should ask. See, I've ever had an avian fascination. For birds, you see. Their wings, bones. The structure's perfect. The aerodynamicism, the plumage. In short, I believe I can fly.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, I'm learning to fly. Fly. You've not misheard. I, Barnabas Beckenbauer, will be the first gnome... Oh, what am I saying? The first mammal to free himself of the soil's bondage and soar to the clouds.
But aren't bats also...
Ha! A detail! This is no time to be petty. No, but frankly my preparations are far advanced and I'm rather optimistic about my design and prospects. I've calculated every trajectory, every force, it all works out. Just need to do a few more field tests.
Did you have volunteers try it, or did you test the design yourself?
Naturally, I must stay on the ground, who take all the measurements elsewise. Luckily, there's no lack of thrill-seekers in Mahakam. Most eager to etch themselves into the annals. My first prototype, The Sky Licker, I dubbed it. Oh, your majesty, if you'd only seen the beauty. Flew over 120 ells.
Truly? Colour me impressed indeed. Must have made quite the name for himself, your brave volunteer. I'm certain he's caught the eye of every she-dwarf in Mahakam since.
Oh no, he's dead. The landing, it was rough. And then a bear sauntered by, didn't help any. Anyhow, as he died, the dwarf swore he regretted nothing. Brave lad. A bit daft, though.
I see. But the next time you request I try one of your inventions, I'd ask you to remind me of this touching tale. Time I attended to other matters.
Ah, yes, you're still here. Off you go, then.
Every year more monsters crawl out for spring cleaning.
The blizzard's blowing in. Your Grace, perhaps we'd best pitch camp and wait for clear weather.
Tain't a bad idea. Said we might be waiting a week.
Then we march on. We've no time to waste. While we ride to and fro begging aid, Nilfgaard grows in power. We must obtain reinforcements as quickly as possible and liberate our home.
We got a job to do.
I smell a leak.
My spirit's willing and all, but these damn boots are killing me. There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
I think you'll really like this one.
Use it. Not sure for what just yet, but...
Thing about slings, they hide well. Hey?
You mad? Don't say that!
It's not too late to walk away.
Aye. Should have listened to me, old lady.
Shh! Cork it!
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
Niamh rode on in silence, endeavoring to work out the length of her exile thus far. A scout's call tore her from her reverie.
Your Grace! You must see this!
With a grave mien, the soldier indicated a track in the snow. The hobnail boot print was all too familiar. Niamh had seen it before, upon Lyria's sandy tracks, and midst the ashes to which Edirn had been turned.
Nilfgaardian footmen.
Seethed Niamh.
Marched through of late.
Interrupted Gascon.
A day, perhaps 2 days past.
The scouts had learned a Nilfgaardian caravan with an armed escort had recently arrived in Mahakam. The invaders had brought with them chests brimming with gold and jewels, then exchanged these for the finest Mahakaman-forged swords and spears. A scout gave me one of the coins the Blackclads had used for payment. Upon the coin's back, the Lyrian eagle.
They pay with gold from my vault.
The Queen said through gritted teeth.
For arms that will cut down my fighting men and subjects.
We might yet pursue and hunt them down,
said Reynard, a spark in his eye.
And make certain Eddahi never lays hands on those weapons.
You might, I can.
Piped up Gabor, who had been listening to their exchange.
But you might also recall, we Mahakamans are neutrals who assure all guests within our borders safety. True, formally speaking, the Nilfgaardians have passed outside them, but attack him a stone's throw from our gates, and you'll see Brewer's rage come out his ears as steam, and out his arse as fire.
Gabor, forgive me,
said the Queen.
This caravan we must attack. I must stop the Nilfgaardians. And entirely apart, I should be quite content to watch Brewer spew fire.
Gabor's mouth gaped as he tried to protest, but the Lyrian soldier's laughter drowned out his grunts. Niamh gave the signal to depart. Soon after, Queen and company descended upon the foe's caravan, and a battle ensued.
I want that transport in one piece!
So much anger and suffering. For what?
Oh. Enarfian!
Ever have a stone knock out one of your two? Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
Of course, as you wish, master. I only loot corpses. Except sometimes they're quite fresh.
Scheiß! In 2! Ja, ja!
Off to the front yet again.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, a time to die.
The Kommissar will hear.
Getting to work.
I want that transport in one piece! Ha!
Cog it. Yeah. Fuck, our ass is moving. The chase is on! Nilfgaard! Oh. Now, how did that incantation go? Quiet, or the Kommissar will hear.
Make love, not war.
Brach! Scheiß! In 2!
We must trust each other.
Off to the front yet again.
Don't fire anywhere near that wagon, or you'll answer to me.
Should have listened to me old lady.
Ha!
For you, pal! Anything.
The transport's ours.
crushed by their defeat, the Nilfgaardians tossed the chests into the snow lining the road and rode off with the cracking of their whips. One chest burst open, revealing a weapon wrapped in greased leather. Gascon removed the leather and held aloft a sihyl that shone with newly forged luster. He examined it from all sides, then put his thumb to its blade. Blood immediately squirted out.
Ooh! Sharp bastard,
He said, clearly impressed. Hearing these words, Gabor unexpectedly burst out laughing.
What's got you so tickled, if you don't mind my asking?
Custom holds. The first words out a warrior's mouth upon seeing a sill become the blade's name. So, congrats. You've dubbed it.
Gascon stood there awkwardly as Meve took the weapon from him.
I'd have chosen a different name personally, one with a bit more dignity. But Sharp Bastard has an undeniable charm. And I cannot wait to try it out on Nilfgaardian plate.
Aye, but perhaps nae in Mahakam.
Gabor interjected.
You've made a fine enough mess for yourselves as is. Only need to amend for it somehow. And that'll nae be easy.
Tidings of Meve's deeds soon reached Bruverhoog's meaty ears. And though there was no fire, despite Gabor's insistence to the contrary, there was also no doubt the Elder-in-Chief was livid. Only the Zigrin's intercession on their behalf kept the Lyrians from being thrown out of the mountains.